Thanks for tuning in to Manage the Moment, Conversations in Performance Psychology. I'm Dr. Sari Shepphird.
Practicing for consistency over perfection is going to be so much better for longevity and staying safe and healthy, and keep pushing forward is kind of the rhythm you got to keep in whatever you do, because if you look for anything else, it's just going to fizzle out. It's going to be a flash in the pan.
What does it feel like to be at the top of your game as a performer? And what can we learn from those who are? When all eyes are on you, how do you manage that moment?
I want to connect with the audience and make this 2 hours of coverage on this basketball game I'm doing or whatever it is as enjoyable as possible. And you do that by making them want to spend the time with you. And that's kind of the last thought I have before I go on the air, is make that person out there enjoy the next 2 hours, however I can do that.
What does it feel like to have been a performer who has broken barriers?
Oftentimes, people who don't have, white male privilege can feel very fraudulent when in positions of power, like speaking at a podium. And in the early years, I had a lot of that, that somebody was going to come up on stage and say, she doesn't know what she's talking about, get her off the stage, and that kind of thing. That it was, I think it just becomes something that is a problem for a lot of women and people of color and people who don't, as I say, don't have. With white male privilege comes the assumption that if you're speaking at a podium, that you are the authority and that, you do have a right to be there. So it's feeling like you have a right to be there that I think is really is a problem often for people. And that's something that really needs to change.
On this, the Manage the Moment podcast, we will be having conversations with performers who come from wildly different performance areas. From athletes representing a wide range of sports, to television personalities, to performing artists and actors, from songwriters to playwrights to authors, along with people who are in the public eye, so much so that it leaves every day feeling like a performance. Some of our guests come from a long history of experience in the performance world, and others are fresh to the scene. Our conversations give us the chance to connect, and so sometimes we really dive deep and get personal.
I used to say that without alcohol, I'd put a gun to my head, and I had a moment of realizing that alcohol was the gun.
Every time that I was about to lose my spot on a team, whether it's because of commitment or performance or whatnot, because it happened a couple of times in my career, these are always life, like make it or break it kind of situations where you either quit or you come back stronger. And I think that's what makes a great champion, right? And every time I came back stronger, but right now I'm deciding at the moment if I'm coming back stronger or if I'm quitting. And it's the hardest decision that I've ever made in my life, and I'm very confused because all I can think about is, would Michael Jordan quit or would Roger Federer quit if he knew he could still win? And if the answer is I want to quit, then maybe I'm not the champion I think I am. So it's very scary. I'm very scared.
And other moments, we get a glimpse of practical choices that performers make, which influences their mindset and allows them to perform optimally.
There's not one thing that I've done that I'm proud of or that usually on a daily basis that's genuinely easy. So I think you just get used to pushing through that. A lot of people ask me, it's actually, it makes me very curious. A lot of people ask me, how are you not scared? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm scared all the time. Like, I'm literally terrified a majority of the time. And like I explained that it's like, I think the people like me and the people like these guys I've mentioned kind of just found a way to have a healthy relationship with that fear and learn how to kind of live with it and use it as kind of like a chisel to make yourself a little bit more precise, a little bit more well thought out. And when it's go time, it, it's kind of what keeps me in that focus, in that zone.
These will be free-form, largely untouched recordings, which I'm really excited to share with you. And you will get a chance to hear some of my guests answer questions that they've never been asked before.
These are hard.
I'm a psychologist, so.
I know, these are really hard.
Just about all of my guests share candidly about their lives and experiences, which I think makes for some really great conversations.
You know, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I try challenging cases. I try cases that people warn me not to take. This is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Some conversations are going to be recorded in person here in the Los Angeles area, and others are recorded remotely, but hopefully you won't really notice a difference because they are all intended to be natural conversations, with the exception of just some music breaks to mix it up a little bit here and there. My words may never be perfect, of course, but the conversations are real, as is the insight that we will gain from listening in. Oh, and from participating, which I hope you will do. We will be taking questions from listeners for some of the podcasts, as I did with one popular author and TED Talk speaker. Sometimes you'll get the opportunity to leave your question on SpeakPipe, which is an app where you can record your voice and leave your question for the possible use in a podcast, and sometimes by email, Twitter, Instagram, or our other social media platforms. And you'll be able to find this information in the episode notes for each broadcast. I'm really excited to share these conversations, and I do hope that you will join in. Life is a series of moments. It's how you manage those moments that makes the difference. Our first episode drops in just a few weeks, and we will be talking with Terry Gannon, known for his work as a sportscaster for NBC Sports. And for our first season, we will feature conversations with the likes of X Games gold medalists, IndyCar history makers, esports world champions, musicians who have played to sold-out stadiums across the globe, high-profile courtroom attorneys, television hosts, vocal coaches to the biggest recording artists on the planet, and many, many more. So, come on, join the conversations. And thanks for tuning in. Until then, I'm Dr. Shepp.